In this video, I'm going to give you guys a quick update on where we are with the terrain board and let you guys decide what we use for the last quarter. Hey guys, Rich from Richmond Gaming. Hope everyone is doing fantastically well and welcome back to another quick update video. As you guys may have seen from any of the sort of little tutorial videos I've been doing and some of the live streams, I have been working on some terrain boards. We've kitted out the office, we've got a new camera, so we're going to be able to start doing some live battle reports, which I know you guys have been asking for. But I thought I would just give you guys a quick update as to where I were. And I know a few people have been asking me a couple of things around, oh, how did you do this? How do you do that? So a big shout out to Sorastro. He really did inspire this board. One of them is an almost direct replica of what he did, albeit not looking as good at the moment. But yeah, big shout out to Sorastro. So I'll leave a link down to the PDF guide that he does for the boards itself, but I'll give you a quick demonstration as to how that works. So yeah, let's jump straight over to the other camera and we'll take a look at what we've got so far, and then I'm going to give you guys the options as to what we can go for the final quarter of the board. Okay guys, so here is a quick overview of where we are so far, and as you can see, we do have one whole quarter of the board here that is yet to be finished, and by no means are these boards finished whatsoever. We still need to paint some of the terrain, we still need to finish off some of the boards as well. We need to carry on the zebra crossings here as well on some of them, or whatever it is they call them in the US. The sanctum isn't quite painted, we've got some more trees and things that we're going to put up there. But I thought I'd just give you a quick tour in terms of where we are so far, and you can see each of these boards in turn and what we've done with them. Okay then guys, so this is the first board that I've got done so far, and this is actually the first one that I tried, and there's definitely a couple of little mistakes here and there with what we've done. When I look at some of the roads and things, they're not quite as neat as they could be, but essentially if I just remove the sanctum from here a second, this isn't magnetized down, but what we've also done is built some walls here as well. These are foam board covered in plaster and then just spray painted. We need to finish these off painting wise, but these will just snap back in place, as I say, they are all magnetized. And guys, this is an absolute direct replica of the board that Sorastro put together, so huge props to him. Or almost a replica, I should say. We've then got, I decided that I wanted the board to be autumnal themed. I feel like it just looks really good. So one of the things I have done is I have built these trees here. So I bought the actual trees themselves, but then what I've done is used some hexagonal bases. So actually these bases here. So use these hexagonal bases, then using foam board, built them up, and then again covered them in sort of polyfiller, filler cement type stuff, and then sanded them down and just spray painted them. I think they look really, really effective. And we've got the red one here. And then as you can see on this side of the board, we've sort of got some of the leaves that are dropping off there as well. I'll take you through here just so you can see things in a bit more detail. So we've got some of the leaves dropping off there. I am considering what to do with this, whether we replace this with something else, but I want another piece of terrain there as well. We've tried to create these little puddle effects here with Mod Podge. I'm not 100% happy with them, so it's a bit of trial and error. And then we will do something at the back here as well, because at the moment the sanctum, as you can see when we put it in place, fills up most of that. But if we pop round the back here, you'll be able to see there's still some dead space at the back there. So I want to fill that up with something, maybe if it's a couple more plants and things. And then lastly, we have our Greenwich and Bleecker Street sign. Again, props to Sorastro, because they were from his one of his PDF guides that he's done. So yeah, not quite there with the sanctum yet, but so far really, really happy with how this first board is looking. Okay then guys, so on to the second board I did, and one thing you'll notice straight away is I have messed up ever so slightly with these boards, because the idea is that you can put them together in a number of configurations, but as you can see, the path on one is wider than the other. So I think what I'm going to do, just to get around that, is I will build either another one of these walls or even just one of these sort of raised curb areas here, just to put alongside this board edge so that yeah, it doesn't cause problems. Or I may even just put it here, so then it's always on this board. But yeah, one thing I did realise very soon afterwards is that I had 4 on this side, 3 on this side, and then only 2 on some of the other ones. So yeah, that's something just to be wary of if you want to make them modular. You need to make sure you keep things consistent. So as you can probably see, this is based around the Roxxon crashed Sentinel terrain piece. Again, we tried doing some little things here, but not entirely happy with how they looked. But basically, we've got the Roxxon here, the crashed Sentinel, we've got the car, we've got the Sentinel head, we've got another trash can around the back there as well. Once again, let's take you off the stand here a second. We tried doing little things like the puddles, but in all honesty, they didn't work out too well. The work here, again, could have been much neater. This was only the second board I'd ever made, guys, so I'm still fairly happy with how it looks, and I'm sure once all of the terrain is painted up and we get some other little bits on there, it will look really, really good. We are going to put some lines on here for like a little car park. We'll probably have a couple of cars on there as well. But yeah, overall, I'm okay with this one. It was the first time I'd sort of tried to sort of cut away, and again, as you can see, the tarmac there, that really needs sort of pressing down more. Not sure if there's much I can do about it now, but you know, it's still definitely functional as a gaming board. But I do have some spare boards as well, so my plan is to make 6 in total, and then I'll be able to mix and match them. Okay then guys, so for anyone who's played on TTS, you may see some of the inspiration for this one. So actually waiting for it to dry. Still in the middle there, we've got some Mod Podge that is drying up. This is the latest board that I've done, and much happier in terms of like how certain things are looking. Did mess up a little bit around here, but we haven't quite finished painting this one yet, so that's absolutely fine. And as you can see, it's based on the Dormammu Ultimate Encounter box. I thought, you know, as soon as I had this terrain, I may as well make the use of it. All of this underneath was painted in this sort of lava effect, but then the idea was I was going to put this cracking paint on there, and whilst it has cracked in certain places, it most definitely wasn't the final effect that I was looking for. So I need to have another look at this and see what I choose to do with it. But again, I'm sure once everything is painted up, it will look significantly better, especially all the sort of portals and the dimensions and things. So my other plan for this one is you get a couple of these spare tankers. So you get one of these and one of these, because I bought one of each, because I bought 2 of these. You do get one of each spare, because although it looks like you get both in the same box, you don't. So my plan is I'm actually going to get those along with a couple of other pieces of scenery, and the plan is to try and make it look like they've been cut in half, basically. Somehow is kind of in my head how I'm seeing it at the moment. But that's a quick overview of what we've done so far. So now I'll just give you a really quick idea of the tools I've used, what you need, and how really easy this is to do, guys. I have got no tools at all at home that are any sort of, you know, professional tools or anything. These have all been done with just pure hobbying knives, PVA glue, and then some weights on top. So yeah, I'll give you a quick rundown as to how I've done each of these boards. Okay then guys, so each one of these boards starts out with a piece of MDF. Now, I ordered these. You can order them online in the UK. For 6, they cost me about £35 delivered. I went for the, I think it's the 4mm or 3mm thickness. Now, if I was to do this again, I would highly, highly recommend buying something slightly thicker, maybe 6 or even 8mm. And that's really because what I have noticed is that the boards have warped ever so slightly as PVA glue and other such things has gone onto them. So I think a thicker board, I don't think you would get that. But yeah, so that's what I'm using at the moment. And then basically the first thing that we do, and I'm not going to go through and do one in front of you guys, but we get sandpaper, whatever grit, right? And then we basically place it around across one right angle along the board, and we will glue that down. Again, I'll put a link to the Sorastro description and the PDF, so you can get all of the measurements and everything else. We spray paint this black. I have just been using a black gloss spray paint from Wilko's, and it has worked absolutely fine. From there on in, you then want to cut down your foam board. I'm using 3mm thick foam board, and basically this then just goes over the top here like so. You don't quite want the road as big as that. You can either choose to paint everything at once. So on the first board I did, the Sanctum, I painted this separately. I painted this black first, then glued this on the top. For the other 2 boards, I actually just painted everything at once, and it was absolutely fine getting that stone effect on there as well. So yeah, either or, but then we glue this down here. The one thing at this point is then you need to weigh this down a lot. And you need to make sure that everything is completely dry before you start doing anything. I'd recommend overnight to just make sure, and just weigh it down with whatever you've got, you know. So I ended up using PVA bottles. I ended up using the polyfiller on there as well. I got some of the other MDF boards and put them on top, so the distribution of the weight was equaled out. But you just need to make sure you get that nicely weighed down and make sure it is completely dry beforehand. And that really then is going to give you your basis of, you know, you're at a corner of or an intersection of a road basically. And then from there on in, you can really do anything that you want. But by keeping this setup here always the same, so this right angled corner here, and then this part of the all being the road, it means that you can swap and change the boards to be in any sort of configuration. So once you've then got your board, you can see this is the Roxol that we did as well. If you're wanting measurements, again, there'll be the PDF, but basically on here we've got 0.5mm sort of curve all the way around the side. And then I have used a hobby knife first of all. So each of these paving flags is 30mm by 30mm, so 30mm square. I found the best way of doing this. I went out and I bought, because it wasn't something I had previously, this really long ruler with a handle on as well that you can push down on and make sure you get a really nice flat edge. And you need to make sure that you've got very, very sharp, either a hobby knife or a Stanley knife to make sure this cuts through. Otherwise, you can end up with some jagged edges. Basically, score it with the hobby knife all the way down, and then just use something, whatever it may be. I just found that a ballpoint pen worked absolutely fine. So once they were cut or scored, I then used the ballpoint pen just to go through, make those holes in there, push them down a little bit of tinfoil scrumpled up and rolled over them is going to give you some texture on there as well. Or you could use the polyfiller or the ready mixed purpose filler. Other polyfillers are available to add some texture on there. And then basically, you can then just paint over the top of them. I've had a few people say that foam board you can't spray paint directly on. Now what I found is the Citadel paints. So I did first time round use the Mechanica Standard Grey. So these paints absolutely burnt through. The foam board started to bubble. Obviously wasn't very good at all, but I then started using the significantly cheaper Wilko's primer. Wilko here in the UK, I'm sure you'll have something equivalent in the US. And that sprayed straight on top, absolutely fine, no problem at all. These boards have had no primer on them, they've not put any filler on them or anything like that. And they did absolutely fine. So yeah, but I would recommend scoring them before you sprayed them, because yeah, obviously then the paint gets into the little cracks as well. Lastly then, or not lastly I should say, but one of the last things was to make the little sort of zebra crossings on there. And on the video that Sorastro made, there were guides on masking taping it off and everything else. I basically made myself a little template, and all I did was put it down like so, get my very, very old brush that I use for this sort of thing, and just stippled white paint along there. Some of them are stronger lines, some of them are weaker lines, but I just thought that added to the whole sort of look and feel of it. But then this I can just use over and over and over again. And I did use masking tape then for these lines here. Don't bother about priming anything beforehand. Yes, this is yellow on black, but that's what happens in real life. You can put this paint on quite thick. So again, all I did was 2 strips of masking tape and then just stippled this down the middle there. And I gave it 1 or 2 passes just to make sure it was a clear defined line. And again, that will then match up with the other board that I've got as well. And there we go, guys. That is a quick overview as to where we are with the gaming board at the moment. Obviously, there's a lot more work to do in terms of painting up all of the terrain and everything else, but my plan is to just do that over a period of time. Once the boards are done, at least I can actually start doing some battle reports, playing some games, and yes, everything might not quite be painted perfectly, but everything will at least be to a tabletop standard. We'll add some of the extra little bits in, like the foliage and the trees and everything else, and that should hopefully make it feel, or look and feel really, really good. And I think it will be a good gaming board to play on. Again, big shout out to Sorastro. He did a Q&A video I think a couple of months back now. I'll leave a link down in the description below. That sort of really got me going to do this myself. I know it's something you guys have been asking for a long time, is some live battle reports. So fingers crossed we are not too far away from that now. But this is where I need your help at home. As you can see, I have I've actually got 3 more boards to make, but I've got 1 more board to make before we're in a position where we can start doing some live battle reports. And I am in a quandary as to what that third part of the board should be. There's some ideas going in my head at the moment. Obviously, I've tried to utilize scenery that I've already got, Marvel Crisis Protocol terrain, but I'm thinking that we can either do something with the Thanos throne. We could do something incorporating the Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus Rivals pack, that sort of building that comes with that. I've seen ideas around some really, really nice little park scenes. We've got the size 5 terrain building, the New York apartment. Not sure I want 2 size 5 terrains on the same board, but guys, let me know down in the comment section below for some ideas in terms of what you think the last quarter of the board should be. Then what I'm going to do towards the end of this week is put up a poll, and whoever or whichever one gets the most votes will be the 4th and final piece of this particular board. And then I'll take a look down at the other ones, and if there's any good ideas on there for the next 2 that I've got, then yeah, we'll maybe take a look at them as well. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's just a quick video just to run you through what we've been doing and how the board's looking at the moment, because you've seen glimpses of it in the background, but I thought it'd be nice to show you really quickly. As I mentioned, guides to everything you'll be able to find down in a link in the description below. There'll be a link back to Sorastro's main video, and then from there you'll be able to find all of the links for all the various things that I've used, including little printouts like the Bleecker Street thing, and also some posters and other such things there as well. So once again, big shout out to Sorastro for being the inspiration to this. Guys, if you've liked the video, please leave a like. It really does help. And if you want to support us even further, we have our Patreon up and running now as well. And a big thank you to all of our Patreon members who have contributed and allowed me to be able to start making this board so far. We've used the revenue from the channel to buy a new camera, and we've used the revenue from the Patreon to buy, at least for the most part, all of the things that we needed for the gaming board, all to be able to bring you guys some live battle reports as well. If you want to go join our Discord server, it's completely free of charge to join. There's over 500 people on there now. You'll find not only some great discussions around Marvel Crisis Protocol, but also a bunch of other games as well, so go and check that out. And lastly, guys, and as always, it leaves me with just enough time to say stay well, keep safe, and until next time, bye for now.